Before we dive into this AI tool comparison that will provide clear insights, make sure to subscribe to the channel as we upload new tool comparison podcasts every day.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we are going to tackle a question that I know a lot of you have been asking about. We're going to be looking at Canva versus Bing Image Creator.
Ooh, yeah.
To figure out which one is the right fit for your next project.
I think this is really fascinating, especially because, things are changing so quickly these days. Like, we are really in the midst of a creative revolution thanks to AI.
Absolutely. And that is why we are here to help all of you figure this out.
Yeah.
So let's get started. Let's start with Canva. I feel like this is the platform that everyone knows. Everyone uses Canva.
It's become synonymous with design, hasn't it?
It really has, and it's incredibly user-friendly.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of templates. Would you say that's fair?
It has a ton of templates, over 1 million, in fact.
Wow, over 1 million. I did not know that.
Yeah. And it's interesting because that's definitely one of its major strengths, having this massive library of ready-made designs.
Right.
But it also raises some interesting questions, like, does having so many options actually stifle creativity? Does it lead to a kind of generic look across different projects?
That's a really good point. I think so many times people are like, oh, I don't know where to start when they have too many choices.
Yeah, the choice overload.
Yeah, exactly.
But on the other hand, having these templates can be a lifesaver for someone who's maybe pressed for time or, doesn't have a ton of design experience, but they need to create something that looks really professional.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's a trade-off.
Yeah, it's finding that balance between ease of use and then also, creative freedom.
Right. And that's where Bing Image Creator comes in because it takes a completely different approach.
Okay.
Instead of relying on templates, it uses AI to actually generate images from text.
Oh, wow. So you don't even have to choose from existing designs. You just type in what you want and it creates it for you.
Pretty much, yeah. You literally type what you want to see and it creates it.
That's great.
I know, it's wild. It's actually built on DALL-E 3, which is the same technology behind ChatGPT, so you might have heard of that.
Yeah.
It's a really big deal because DALL-E 3 is like a major leap forward from its predecessor, DALL-E 2.
Okay.
It can create even more realistic and complex images.
Wow.
It has a deeper understanding of what you're actually asking for in those text prompts.
So I think it'd be good to get a little technical here. For those who might not know a ton about DALL-E, how do these advancements actually translate into the quality of the images in Bing Image Creator? And how does that compare to Canva's approach to creating images, which I guess is more traditional design elements and pre-made assets?
So with Canva, you're basically working within a structured environment. You're choosing elements, you're arranging them, and you're customizing them to create your vision.
Okay.
It's kind of like building with Legos. You have a set of pieces and you combine them in different ways.
Right.
But with Bing Image Creator, it's more like having a conversation with an AI artist.
That's a good way to put it.
You provide the prompt, the idea, the concept, and the AI turns that into a visual.
So I imagine crafting those text prompts is really crucial to getting what you actually want.
Oh, it's super important. It's almost like learning a new language.
Right.
Language of AI image generation.
Okay.
You have to be very specific and descriptive. You need to consider things like what style you want the image to be in the composition, the lighting.
So it sounds like there's a lot of room for error there if you're not exactly specific with what you're looking for.
Oh, for sure. A common challenge is being too vague. The AI needs clear instructions. For example, if you just say, create an image of a cat, the AI might give you 1 million different results.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Like different breeds, colors, poses, backgrounds. But if you say, create an image of a fluffy white Persian cat sitting on a red velvet cushion with a playful expression,
right,
you're giving the AI a much clearer idea of what you're looking for.
Oh, yeah. So it's really all about that sweet spot. You're giving it freedom, but also guidance.
Exactly. You got it. And that's part of the fun, I think, experimenting, refining your prompts, and seeing how the AI interprets your instructions.
Okay. And how about the image quality? I know we talked about Canva's library of templates and stuff, but Bing Image Creator is generating images from scratch. So how do they compare in terms of resolution and the overall visual quality?
That's where Bing Image Creator really shines because it's generating these images using algorithms. It can produce crazy high-resolution visuals up to 4K.
Wow.
And they often look like photographs.
Really?
Yeah, it's amazing. Canva's images are good quality, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But they might not be as photorealistic,
right,
especially if you're using those pre-existing design assets.
Okay, so it sounds like if photorealism is your top priority, Bing Image Creator might be the way to go.
Yeah, I think so. But we can't forget about Canva's user-friendliness. That drag-and-drop interface is so simple, even for people who have never designed anything before.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like that's what's made it so popular. So how does Bing Image Creator compare in terms of ease of use?
It's still pretty user-friendly, I would say. But there's a bit of a learning curve with those text prompts.
Yeah.
Like any new skill, it takes some practice to get comfortable with it.
Right.
But once you get the hang of it, it's incredibly powerful.
Okay. So it sounds like with Canva, you have that instant gratification. You can make something that looks really nice right away. You don't have to be an expert. But with Bing Image Creator, you're spending a little more time up front just kind of learning how to use the tool.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like there are pros and cons to both.
Definitely.
Canva, we've got the design powerhouse, millions of templates, a really user-friendly interface. Then Bing Image Creator, this AI artist that can generate these unique visuals based on what you tell it to do.
Yeah.
So both have their strengths.
Absolutely. And to make things even more interesting, they both have free versions available.
Oh, perfect.
So you can test them out, see what works for you without having to commit.
That's great advice. It's really about finding the right tool for the job. And sometimes the only way to do that is to try them out yourself.
Exactly.
But before you do that, we've got a lot more to unpack in this deep dive. We're going to be comparing these tools head to head, looking at specific features, customization options, and how they work with other platforms. So stay tuned.
Okay, so let's get into like a head-to-head comparison here.
Go ahead.
We've talked about image quality and how easy the tools are to use. But what about customization options? Like Canva gives you all these templates, but how much can you actually change them? Make them your own.
Yeah, that's a good question. It feels like you might be limited by the templates.
Right.
Like you can tweak things, but can you really create something totally unique?
That's a valid concern. Canva is great for getting a polished look fast, but you are working within those constraints. You can change colors and fonts, swap out some elements, but the overall layout is kind of set.
Right.
It's already decided.
Okay, but being image creator, you basically start from scratch, right? Like you have that blank canvas or blank text box, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about generating those images from nothing based on your instructions. You have control over like every little detail,
Wow.
the composition, what's in the image, even the lighting and style.
So it really is like having that AI artist who can bring your ideas to life.
Exactly.
But I guess that also means you need to think differently about how you're going to create something.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just dragging and dropping stuff. You need to figure out how to explain what you want to the AI.
Yeah, you have to be able to translate your vision into words that the AI can understand.
That's interesting. It's almost like a new way of thinking about design.
Yeah, it's a shift. And it's part of this bigger trend of how we use technology, right?
Right.
It's becoming less about clicking buttons and more about like actually communicating with these intelligent systems.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So we talked about image quality, ease of use, and all the customization stuff. But now let's think about how these tools actually fit into our work, day to day.
Yeah.
We all use different apps and platforms to get things done.
Yeah.
So how did Canva and Bing Image Creator work with those other tools?
Well, Canva is really good at integrating with a lot of popular platforms like Google Drive and Dropbox, even Slack.
Oh, cool.
So it's easy to share designs work with your team and get to your work from anywhere.
That makes sense. And Bing Image Creator being a Microsoft product probably works well with all the Microsoft stuff.
Of course, it integrates really well with Edge, all the Office apps, all that, which is a big plus if you're already using those tools a lot.
Right. So if you're like a big Microsoft user, Bing Image Creator might just make your life a lot easier.
It probably would, but Canva's integration with all those other platforms is really good too.
Yeah.
So it really depends on what you need for your work.
Right. What your workflow is like.
Exactly. Like which platforms are essential for you, where do you need to be able to share your designs, things like that.
Okay. So it sounds like we need to think about our own needs when we're making this decision.
Definitely.
So far, we've talked about the quality of the images, how easy they are to use, all those customization options, and how well they integrate with other tools. And it seems like both Canva and Bing Image Creator have some really good things going for them.
Yeah, they both bring something different to the table.
Right.
Canva is all about being easy to use and giving you templates to get started quickly. And Bing Image Creator is about that AI generation, creating something new from scratch.
Yeah, and both of them are changing so fast, always adding new things and like pushing the limits of what we can do.
It's really an exciting time to be working with visuals, Technology is letting us explore all these new ways to express ourselves.
Yeah, totally. So what does all this mean for our listeners? Like, which tools should they choose?
It's the age-old question, right? It depends.
Yeah, of course.
It depends on what you need, your creative style, your budget, your comfort level with AI, all of that.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But the good news is both Canva and Bing Image Creator have free versions you can try.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you can play around with them, see what they can do, and figure out which one feels right for you.
Yeah, that's a great point. Sometimes the best way to learn is just to dive in and try it out.
Exactly. And we always encourage that here on the Deep Dive.
Absolutely. But before you go and sign up for those free trials, there's one more big thing we need to talk about. The role of AI in the future of design. What does all this mean for the future of visual content creation? Okay, so we talked about like the nuts and bolts of Canva and Bing Image Creator.
Right.
But I think it's time to like zoom out a little and think about the bigger picture.
Okay.
We're seeing this huge shift in design with AI coming into the picture. What do you think this means for designers, artists, anyone who works with visuals?
It's a really big question, and there's a lot of debate about it. I mean, some people think AI is like a threat,
Yeah.
Like it could replace human creativity.
Yeah, for sure.
But others see it more as a tool, like something that can help us be even more creative, push the boundaries.
Right.
It's interesting to think about.
It really is. Like, are we going to get to a point where anyone can just like type in what they want and get an amazing visual?
Possibly. Yeah.
Will designers become like AI whisperers?
Maybe. I mean, we're already seeing tools like Bing Image Creator making it possible for people without any design training to create professional looking stuff.
Right.
So yeah, it could totally change the game.
That's exciting, but it also makes you think about like, what does it mean to be creative?
Yeah. Yeah.
If AI can just do it all.
Right. I think it's important to remember that AI is still a tool.
Okay.
It can be used for good or bad, and it's up to us humans to decide how to use it.
Yeah, like we're the ones in control, not the AI.
Right. We need to be responsible.
And make sure that it's helping us, not replacing us.
Yeah, I think so. And it can be a huge help. Like, think about all the boring tasks that designers have to do. AI can take care of that stuff and let us focus on the more interesting parts of design.
Right, like the big ideas, the creative concepts.
Yeah.
And AI can even give us new ideas, right? Like help us see things in a new way.
Oh, for sure. It can get us out of those creative ruts we all get into sometimes.
Yeah, and help us try things we never would have thought of on our own.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing time to be involved in this field.
It really is. It feels like we're on the edge of something big.
We are. Like, this is a whole new era of visual communication.
So for all of you listening out there, as you start your next project, remember that you've got these powerful tools like Canva and Bing Image Creator at your fingertips.
Yeah.
Use them, explore them, be curious.
And never stop experimenting.
Exactly. And don't forget, the most important tool you have is your own imagination.
That's so true.
Well, that's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Canva versus Bing Image Creator.
It's been fun.
It has. We hope you learned something new and feel inspired to get creative. Until next time, keep creating and keep diving deep.